Yo! Video games.
What's up, folks? Maximilian here with a Yo Video Games special presentation about the recent ongoings at Nintendo and their supposed change of business structure. For you guys that don't know, Nintendo is not doing very hot right now, and one of the things that was recently quoted from Iwata was this: "We cannot continue a business without winning." And he goes on to say that we are thinking about a new business structure, and given the expansion of smart devices, we're naturally studying how smart devices can be used to grow the same player business. It's not as simple as enabling Mario to move on a smartphone. Simmons, this sounds extremely familiar to some other companies' current strategies. What do you think of this?
I think this is actually kind of a very scary statement. People have said, like Kyle Bossman and others said, Nintendo has a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they have a big war chest.
They have that bank, yeah.
But what's weird about this is what he says in that quote, and he also makes a point of saying they have a skeptical approach whether we can simply make game players and offer them in the same way as the past, and converting yen, because he uses yen examples. But he's basically saying he doesn't think Nintendo may be able to offer $300 game devices at $60 games a pop.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part, because that's almost like saying we don't think we can make consoles anymore.
Yeah. They don't have faith in their product.
Yeah, they don't have it. Well, yeah, they don't have faith in their product. They don't have faith in that business model working going forward. Now, everyone has a theory as to why the Wii U did so bad, and I think everyone is right, and I don't think everyone is 100% correct. You know what I mean? I think it's a little bit of everything.
A lot of things.
I think it's a lot of things. I think it's naming problems. I think it's like timing. I think it's library. I think all this stuff. And a lot of people have been saying Iwata should resign.
Yeah.
But David Jaffe, creator of God of War and Twisted Metal, basically said no, he shouldn't. And I actually kind of agree with Jaffe on the point where Iwata came in during the GameCube and brought Nintendo up with the Wii, and now is seeing it fail hard with the Wii U.
Yeah.
And I think that brings a lot of experience. I don't think he should go, because he's the one CEO who said, I don't want to fire people just because we're not doing well, because how am I going to expect low morale to create me, hot games that are going to sell around the world?
Right.
I can't do, you can't do that with low
Was
morale.
he saying that about the Wii U or earlier times?
And he said that, actually just a few months ago.
Okay.
This was back, August time or something, August, September.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think that's a really nice thing to hear from a CEO. I think it's smart, too, but I think Iwata resigning isn't going to solve any of the problems. And a person with a lot of experience who knows how to bring stuff up and knows how to fail hard is probably going to be better than someone who maybe hasn't worked that much in the video game industry as well. Like, you bring someone from in another industry. And he did say, though, and separately quote, that he felt he failed to understand the market in the U.S. and Europe.
Yes.
Now, my immediate response was no shit.
Yeah.
But he said he could see...
As with most Japanese.
He said it was easy for him to be an antenna to Japanese market trends and see what was wrong there and fix it. And then, this is what I've always told people. Nintendo thinks about Nintendo in Japan first and Japan only.
Yeah.
Every single thing Nintendo has done to correct the problems they had with 3DS and correct the problems they had with Wii U was related in some way to a Japanese game.
Yeah.
It was getting Monster Hunter. It was making a crossover deal with Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah.
It was getting a Dynasty Warriors game. It was picking up Bayonetta 2. As much as we love that, but he never made a single concentrated effort to really bring in Western developers.
What I find really funny is that this is sort of extremely similar to a situation with another high-end Japanese developer, and that's Capcom Japan. And they're running into big issues recently, and they're starting to go mobile, and they made some pretty bad decisions when it came to outside development and choices, and, reverting Dante to not being Dante anymore, and all these crazy things with the franchises that they just refuse to do things with, and Nintendo seems to be in the same boat right now.
Yeah.
Where they have no idea what to do with what they have.
I think the two biggest things for me that I think Nintendo really screwed up on, and it was one I can't take any credit for. I believe Emily Rogers wrote an article basically stating that Nintendo succeeded so much in the past because of the breadth and variety of all their franchises.
Yeah.
Nintendo, Super Nintendo, they had a whole lot of franchises and a whole lot of genres and a whole lot of IPs, and they just kept pumping them out. Now, granted, game development was cheaper back then, but Iwata said during the GameCube era, no single game can support a console.
Yeah.
And then, 8 years later, at the end of the Wii's life cycle, he said, like when people were questioning him about the 3DS and about the Wii U going forward, he said, well, one game can save a console. He completely backpedaled on the idea because Wii Sports was such a big success that it made the whole system a success. Now, I understand that that's kind of true.
Wii Sports as a game did not make the success of the Wii.
I think here's the problem, though. Yes, it's kind of true one game can save a system. Like the original Xbox, if Halo wasn't the success it was, I don't think the Xbox 360 may have even been around. Microsoft may have just said, you know what, this was a total flop. We're going to bow out.
Yeah.
You know, yes, one game can save a console, but you can't just make one game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Microsoft, if you remember, because we both worked retail back when the original Xbox came out, there was a ton of Microsoft first-party games for the original Xbox. There was Halo, Munch's Odyssey, Azuric, Rise of the Pantheon, Nightcaster, Project Gotham, you know, a couple of NFL Fever, all these other games, tons of different sports. It was a very throw shit at the wall, see what sticks.
Exactly.
And Halo stuck. Now, when Nintendo launched the Wii U, they literally launched with Nintendo Land as a pack-in for half their consoles, and they launched with New Super Mario Bros. U. 2 games, and one was a pack-in. So they basically were saying, well, we only need one game to succeed, so we're only really going to make one game.
Yeah.
You know, and we just assume that'll be the big explosive hit.
And they assumed that Nintendo Land was going to... They assumed it was received the same success, and it obviously didn't, and they were pretty much bet the entire all their eggs in the basket and just went for it, because they just presumed success was coming. We all knew this, that there's no reason for you to upgrade your system if all these people that bought it, the millions of people that bought it for casual reasons, just for the fuck of it. They have no reason to upgrade.
And that's a big problem. They seem to like bet everything on like one or two games, and we're like, well, you know, one or two games will save the system as long as they're a hit. Well, no, like you really should be spreading all the money around and basically saying, hey, let's just make a whole bunch of updates to all these different IPs we have.
Yeah.
See which one people really gravitate towards, and then one of them will be a success. And then we'll go from there, which is not what they did.
Yeah. Well, clearly Nintendo's in a pretty bad spot right now. We both hope for the best. We both seen the Dynasty Warriors Zelda thing, and that seems cool. That seems like a good idea. Like, try different things.
Yeah,
it seems like go for it, you know?
Yeah, it seems cool, but like the time it's taking is a problem. And then I think it kind of another problem is like, Zelda Dynasty Warriors sounds cool, but here's a problem, and I don't see anyone talking about this. Nintendo has an image problem right now. A huge image problem. Because here's the deal. If everyone who bought a Wii U owns a Wii U, like a big Nintendo fan, they know there's going to be great Nintendo games coming on that system, right? But there doesn't seem to be too many of those Nintendo fans willing to put the money down. The PS4, on the other hand, has not a lot of games on it. And beyond Infamous, almost no release dates
for anything
else. Like, they probably have shown the fewest amount of major first-party titles between Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. Sony's shown the least amount of stuff on their big first-party offerings for the PS4. But the PS4 sold 4.2 million consoles by the end of December worldwide. Like, they've, probably at this point, have outsold the Wii U's lifetime-to-date sales worldwide in 2 months. 2.5 months, okay, and the Wii U, and the Wii U's been out over a year, so I think there's this image problem there. Like, if you say Nintendo makes the best games, and I wouldn't disagree with that, but Nintendo has somehow failed to get much of an audience to recognize that.
Yeah.
So there's an image problem going on there. I think the fact that Sony can sell so many systems without a major breakthrough game that like redefines something or anything, they can just do that almost purely on their goodwill, and the fact that people want a new system with high-end graphics alone says something.
Yeah. They should probably be focusing on that stuff instead of focusing on our thing does a tablet. That's what's in. Yeah, that's all it does.
Whatever it is that is the problem, it doesn't, they need to look at it. Just look at what Sony did. Sony released a video game system, and at a reasonable price and very powerful.
And that's what it was touted to do, to play video games.
And they're selling over Nintendo's over a year-long head start within a couple of months.
So Nintendo's got some big hurdles ahead. What do you guys think are the bigger issues with Nintendo? Leave a comment below. And also leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. A little bit of a rant, a co-op rant, as I'm gonna call it. Thank you dudes very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.